Can you give me a thumbs up if you are seeing the PowerPoint or some sort of, okay, perfect. Yay. Okay, it's working. Hopefully it all works and goes well. My name is Brandy Bast. I work as the Director of Curricular Integration at Marian University. I've been here for the past 6 years in a couple different titles, but landed on Director of Curricular Integration because of the work that I have been doing with our different schools and building out embedded curriculum throughout different disciplines. Before that, I worked in secondary education, also doing career readiness, post-graduation planning with students and with adult students. So I've been doing this work now for about 15 years, which doesn't seem like that long, but it has been. So what I hope to accomplish today is just to talk to you all about how we have been working across basically just like the last 6 months of mapping out. And I know that in the beginning of, if you were at the beginning session, he talked about career and curricular mapping, and we have been working on that. So I'll give you some ideas and some graphics and some ways that we have been working through some of those maps and conversations with faculty and staff across disciplines. So I've set it up as like the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how. And we'll go through all of those. And again, I have a couple of videos for you with some of our faculty and staff members, and then also hopefully some time for some discussion, because I also want to hear from you. So we are a career development office of 4. We were 6, like many others. We have lost 2 positions. We also have student support specialists, which are our student workers in our office. We have 5 of those. They help with resume reviews, events, social media, managing our Dress to Impress closet. We also have 8 career consultants across a variety of majors, and we try very strategically to get a student from each of our majors because they serve as reverse mentors to our office. We meet with them once a month, and we talk about, here are some things that we're thinking about doing, what is happening in your areas and in your majors, what types of career development are you getting within your classes, what are you missing, what are you hoping for. So we have ran this program now for 3 years and gotten some really excellent information and just assistance from our student career consultants and our support specialists. We have an undergraduate student body of about 2,500. And so how do we support all of those students with us being a team of 4? And really the why of why we started thinking this way is that integration has very much been dependent upon a student's major. And we don't want that to be dependent on the major. We want all of our students to have equitable access to career development and career training so that they are prepared for what comes next, whatever that might be for that student. And so it was a very hodgepodge way of meeting with students, very old thinking based on the speaker at the beginning. And so we have mapped out for all of our majors what that looks like. And we started with our first year courses. So we teach and are a part of our freshman seminar, and then the second half of the semester, they take another class. We are also embedded into that class. But then post freshman year, students, it's not a part of the general education requirements.
Hey, Brandy, I'm so sorry to interrupt. It looks like the presentation, it looks like we're getting like a digitalized screen of some kind. So part of your presentation is it's not showing, and everybody's raising that in the comments.
Let's see.
What are you seeing?
I see my presentation, but let's see.
Yeah, as you're clicking around, it looks like the it's like gray boxes with lines that I think we're all seeing the same thing.
Okay, perfect.
Are you
Um,
sharing the presentation or your entire screen?
I was sharing my screen, but then I'm gonna go stop and try it a little bit differently. If anybody else has suggestions for me, I'm happy to hear those as well. Yeah, I see what my screen looks like now. Content only, over the shoulder. Do you see anything now?
Yeah, we're still seeing the gray.
When you
Um,
go to share your screen, when you click on the green box at the bottom of Zoom, you'll get a bunch of different options. The only one you should click on is like the PowerPoint presentation screen or web page. Do you see that option?
Yep. Is that is that doing anything?
we are still seeing the gray. It might be maybe an internet issue. I'm not sure.
So Zoom says to try advanced share without window filtering. It says the only setting that allows.
So let me make sure that you can all 80% see this. Oh, well, somebody said it's not me, it's a Zoom issue. So that makes me feel better. Okay, so we were talking about the why and how it is not necessarily embedded or required past a student's freshman year. And so our office thought, what can we do to make sure that this is equitable, and what we are doing with our students is equitable across majors, across disciplines. Um, so we first started with a career development Canvas course. It now has 12 modules. Students can self-enroll in this. And it just stays on their dashboard, and they can use it as a reference and use it as a tool for themselves throughout their 4 years, and then a little bit after graduation. Faculty and staff we give access to, and they are able to copy and embed modules within their courses. And then we're working on utilizing the Canvas credentials within each module to be able to award some career badges to our students who are completing those. We know that not all students are going to utilize this. It's there for them if they so choose. And that is not the equitable way to do career development. So that's one option for us to be able to easily refer students to, for them to have as a resource, but also to begin to build those relationships with faculty and staff across campus. And so what we did after we built that class was we did a breakdown of all of our majors, what's already happening. So what classes do we already work with? What faculty do we already partner with? What's going on within those courses and within that curriculum in that specific major. And then identifying the courses and looking at their course requirements, what is required for everybody in that specific major, and then where and how can we scaffold career development within that. And I'm going to show you a couple of different maps and a couple of different majors so that you have an idea of how we did this and what it looks like. And so when we approach and have conversations with different faculty or deans or staff across campus, we start with this overview map. Hopefully, I don't know if you can 80% see it or not, but we start with this overview map and how we are embedded already and where we are and what that looks like for a Marian University graduate. So at orientation, we start with parents and we talk to parents about our office, about our resources, and on-campus employment. And then once a student's enrolled, they take a first-year seminar class. We do a day in that class with all of our first-year students, and we talk about resumes. And so we get them an approved resume from our office. That's the goal of that. So we talk about the importance of a resume, what content, how to use it, but then we also talk about the resources for our office in that as well. And then the second half of their freshman year, we see our first year students again in a health and well-being class. And that one, we talk about Ikigai, and we have them do the Enneagram assessment. They do a value sort, and we talk about the importance of aligning your career with your values and your interests, and what those might be, and that really it's okay in normalizing that it's okay not to know. Not very many people do. And if they do know, it might change throughout their next couple of years. And then they create some smart career development goals. And then that's where it stops. So they see us that first year, and then depending on a student's major, they're going to see us maybe again, maybe not again. In a perfect world, all majors would have this careers course 2.0 that we teach within our exercise science and our philosophy majors. That would be like our end goal would be to have that course be embedded into the general education. It's not, so we have to figure out, and we had to figure out how do we still reach all of our students. Some of the ways that we do is through on-campus employment, co-curriculars, internship courses. We're aligned with probably about 70% of our internship courses throughout the different disciplines. And we have a standard 5 modules that those students take. Other disciplines will add things in there as well, or different types of reflections. They're based on the career competencies. And then the curricular integration is really the piece that we built out maps for each of our majors. And then another perfect world would be where we have this senior level careers course, which there is our exercise science program has a senior level careers course. And in that course, we do some updating of our personal documents and our LinkedIn accounts, some post-graduation job offers, skill building, budgeting, those types of things within that careers course. And really what we did was create a rubric. We looked at for each of our majors, do they have a foundational career course? Do they have a senior seminar or a capstone integration? Are they embedded? Do we have other ways that it is embedded into the curriculum throughout that student's 4 years? Do they collaborate? What kind of collaboration with our office? And what types of experiential learning opportunities are they offering for their students within that major? And then also, what does an alumni and employer engagement look like within that major? And this is strictly from our perspective. So we have done this with all of our majors, and as of the 2024-2025 year, we had one major that scored comprehensive, 2 developing, 7 emerging, and 3 not present. And we can't really start mapping or start thinking about these things until we know where we're at in the present. So having this allows us then to move and adapt and figure out what it is we need to do and what that next step might look like. So this is an example, hopefully you can all see at least some of it, of our engineering major and where they're at currently. So this was last year when we started building these maps. Every student takes FYS, first year experience, and health and well-being. So that's on every one of our maps. And then based on those discussions and things that we had in the very beginning and the fact finding that we were doing, we were already embedded with engineering a 100 level class doing some career prep. And so that is where we stood currently going into the school year. We do some events with them as well, and some things that we offer to all of our students across campus. So that's always we always include those in there as options and opportunities to engage with our office. I'm not even going to try to show the videos, I don't think, because it's probably not going to work. So I'll just move on to the current map of our engineering school. So we started with just the 100 level. We had a conversation, and the video walks through how our office approaches those conversations. And we really go in as partners. Like we are partnering with you. We want the best for our students. You want the best for our students, best for the university. Here's from our perspective what we think might work. We'd love to hear what your ideas are and where you think it might work best. And so we walk through this map with them, and based on those conversations, we adjust those maps. And so we had a conversation with our dean of engineering and a couple of their faculty members. And in that conversation, we learned that the 200 level course that we were hoping to do a lot of interviewing prep with is really content heavy. And there's really not an opportunity for us to get into that class or that be taught in that class. However, they could do a virtual assignment. So we have a module that they're going to pull into their course so that students are still getting that. It's still being put into the curriculum in an appropriate timing in their development. And so they'll get the interviewing, they'll get practice doing a virtual interview, and it's not taking time out of their content to be able to do that. And then they move along on the roadmap to a 300 level, and that's more about personal branding, job search, internship search strategies, career fair prep, doing some sort of a networking event with some of our employer partners in that course. The 460 is their internship course. So we talked about our class and the modules and how that works with other programs so that we can have a standardized internship class across majors. And then they have a senior seminar class as well. So we talked about some of the things that we could do with their students in there, or some of the modules that they could bring in from that careers class in Canvas that we set up. And so they'll be pulling some things in. This map is going to get tweaked just a little bit again because of those conversations. So we'll go back, we'll tweak this map, and then in the fall next year, we have a steady cadence of career development through our engineering students majors in all of their 4 years here at Marian. We've done a similar with our exercise science class, and they have that 200 level careers class already. It's co-taught, it's co-developed by our office. We have helped build that out the past couple of years with them in collaboration and partnership with them. And then we have modules that they bring in from that Canvas course into their senior class. And so that's the current landscape of our exercise science program. What we would like to do with them and what we've had conversations with is regarding their internship program and their internship class, and really embedding that in using our standardized process. So we've had conversations with the dean and the program chairs for that, and are working on how to make that happen for the next school year. I have another video that I'm gonna pass by as well. And so you see all of the maps that I'm not going to go over every single map. This is the last one. But they all have FYS. They all have health and well-being. Our Educators College, we've been working with them for the past couple of years on building their roadmap. And so we see them at a 200, a 300, and a 400. And then in the 500, the master's level program, we have pre-recorded a LinkedIn for educators and walked through how to build LinkedIn account with them. And we've been doing this for the past 2 years and seeing some really good outcomes with our students and their professionalism and career development. However, there's a couple of things that we met with the dean to talk about in further ways that we can integrate some of our Canvas course modules into what they're doing. And so we had those conversations, walking them through the Canvas course, our ideas, listening and hearing what they have ideas on or what they're seeing from their students as well. And then the when. So we get feedback from students, from our career consultants, from our student workers, from the surveys we have them fill out on what's working, what's still missing, what are you doing in your classes so that we can get a better understanding of what is happening across campus. And the plan is to update those maps at the end of every year while tracking those rubric scores and seeing the growth within the different majors. It can't be built in 1 year. It's just not possible. So working in progress, making progress in some of those different areas and seeing where we are working towards building an equitable career development across all of our campuses. And then building dashboards. So we are a 1220 school, and that's our career development platform is built through 1220. And so we've built with our business school a dashboard where their faculty and staff can go in and see where their students are going, internships they've been a part of, employer partners, all of that first destination survey information so that they are empowered to have that information and look at what's happening with their students. And then our goal is to adapt this and over the summer, update all of this information, but then work on what does this look like in our co-curricular and how can we adjust and adapt these maps to meet the co-curricular and see and just kind of get that same layout of our majors, but then also where are we embedded into some of the co-curricular things that are happening across campus. And I have 5 minutes left. So happy to have any questions, comments, concerns. I really apologize that something was not working correctly. So I'm sorry. Oh, somebody said you could see it. Okay. Somebody said on here that I might have mentioned, but is the health and well-being part of a course? So the health and well-being is a course in itself. It's a 16-week course that looks at the 8 dimensions of wellness and spends 2 weeks on each of those. And so when it comes to the occupational wellness piece, we go in and we lead that. And that's where we talk about the Enneagram and Ikigai and values.
Hey, I have a quick question. So it sounds like you all work a lot with like internships and industry partners and stuff as well. Am I correct in?
Yes. Yep.
I do as well, and I'm an instructor and I do as well in my classes, but I feel like I'm always balancing like what I'm asking of them and also their time and then, making sure that, there's a lot to set up in that process. I guess when you're working with somebody year after year after year, how do you feel like you navigate, a good balance of their time and not taking advantage of that in any way?
Yep.
Kind of making
Yep.
sure that relationship stays reciprocal.
I do there's definitely a core group of people that I pull on more than others. But I try to intentionally recognize that and know like, okay, maybe this time I won't ask you to come to my networking event this time, but I'll wait till next semester. Or like, here's my fall people and here's my spring people. So that way I'm not pulling too much on one of those folks.
Does your university have stipends or like or anything? I guess especially I'm thinking of I work with a lot of nonprofits and I know that their resources are really scarce. And so sometimes if possible I like to be able to offer that, but then that becomes tricky with our resources at the university are also scarce. So
Yes.
yeah.
So actually, we went to our advancement office 2 or 3 years ago and said we would love to be able to provide students with unpaid who have unpaid internships or want to go on to any kind of professional development or conference or do really cool things for their career development. And we were lucky enough to be able to be given some money to be able to do that. So we have a career development fund application process. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. And then we have a committee of people. I think there's 3 or 4 of them across campus, faculty, staff, from both student affairs, academic affairs. And they look at those applications and they grant students up to $750. So it can't cost, like, it's not going to cover the whole full-time internship, but it can at least help a little bit for that. So we've been able to do that now, I think 6 or 7 semesters.
Cool. Thank you.
I will send this out so that way the beginning of it, I'll link the videos in there too. The first video was of one of our staff members talking about how we approach those conversations and what they look like. And then the other was from one of our education faculty members and like how they have built that with and just talking about that relationship piece. So I'll make sure that everybody gets that. And again, super sorry about whatever that issue was.
This was great, Brandy. I guess that will close it out. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.